should be socket bases that I'm going to use for my quad bias probe build. And I ordered relay socket bases. I needed 4. Somebody was selling a set of 6 of them for a fair price, and so I figured I'd grab them up. So we'll do a continuity test on all the pins and make sure that these are going to line up the way I want them to. And we got the locating lug right there, and I believe that these pins run clockwise. No, counterclockwise. Okay, so there's pin 1, pin 2, pin 3, all looking good. 4, 5, 6, 7, and pin 8. Okay, and this doesn't zero anyway, so we're almost at a 0.8, 0.7 ohms. So these are going to work out good, I do believe. I got a Sovtech 7027 here to use to test the fit. And I believe that's the same as the octo relays. So that's good. Pin 3 from the amp into the 200 milliohm amp meter, back out to the pin 3 connector on this, and that will give me my milliamp reading of the plate. And then I will take pin 8, which is directly to ground in the amp. And this should be my 8 conductor wire for the bias probe build. And I got 20 feet of this, so I can run 5 feet from each of the 4 tube sockets into my probe. And there we go. And that looks plenty heavy enough to carry the current that we're dealing with, which should be about 38 milliamps, I guess. But yeah, good stuff. So we'll cut that into 4 5-foot sections, and that'll be ready to go. So now I'm just waiting on a couple of meters. Okay, so cut that into 4 pieces. And so cut one end back a little bit and solder those to the 8 contacts on the base pins. And then this end, if I can get in the camera, this will go inside my box where it'll connect to my amp meter, voltmeter, and socket bases. And then we'll plug the tubes into that. So the tubes will be plugged into a box, not in the amp. The thing with the V4 is you don't have much room there at all. So you can't really build up a base socket and plug it into the amp with the tube into that, because there's just no room. So this way here, the tubes are down in front of you on the box, and your meters are right there. You can see everything going on. And it should work good. So there it is. There's my 4 probe cables, and we'll keep plugging away. Okay, so today we are unboxing what should be the meters for my quad bias probe. There should be 600 volt DC meters and 200 milliamp ammeters. 4 of each, because it is indeed a quad. These look good. Yesterday I got strain reliefs. I was supposed to have 8 of them, and they only shipped 4. And I didn't record that video, which I should have, but let's just take a peek, make sure we got no cracks. Nice, so there's 200 milliamps. And we got 4 of those. There's all the hardware. Nice. So those will be wired in series with pin 3 of the sockets and the tube base on the ampegs. And that will give me plate dissipation in milliamps. Or current, I should say. So far we all look good. All looks like the right meters, no cracks. Let's check number 4. Beautiful. And these all have adjustable 0 points, so we should have really good accuracy with them. Okay, and now these should be the voltmeters. Came from a different seller on eBay. And so the strain reliefs I was talking about, I immediately contacted the seller and told him I had ordered 2 sets. The listings were for 4. And I need 8, 1 at each end. Okay, and these are pretty well packed in foam as well. This is soaking wet. I can actually feel dampness on that. And we'll do the same thing here and go through these and make sure they're all A-okay. So these should be 0 to 600 volts DC. Beauty. Nice, I got styrofoam protecting all the hardware here. I do believe that these meters should be identical in size. Let's just make that check right here. So yeah, 60 millimeters tall, 70 millimeters. 60 wide, 70 tall. So that's good. So those will look very good when they get mounted into the unit. I'm going to build a box for this whole setup. But we'll do the same thing and we'll check all of these. Make sure we don't have any cracked lenses. Hardware. Yep, and these also have the adjustable 0 needle. So that's good. Two down, 2 to go. And so this will give me the ability to look at all 4 tubes at the same time in real time. You can see that needle sits a little bit below 0, so we'll just tweak that up. And then we put it all together. And I got some relay bases with all the terminal screws in them. Nice. So these all look like they're in good condition, no cracks. That's nice. And I'll be putting the tubes in the unit. Okay, so actually here's my parts acquired thus far. So the relay socket bases, I'll put the tubes in. These are the strain reliefs. We'll just drill the hole and put that into the box. And then I'll take these nuts and washers right off and epoxy that into the socket bases, the octo bases I got. I did buy these first. They were pretty cheap, 13 bucks for 5. But upon putting the first one into a socket base and pulling it out, it snapped the locating lug right off of it. And you can see that, well, I guess it doesn't matter which way it goes. That's okay now, but I think I want to say that a couple of these, the pins were just not concentric. Okay, so there's one right there. That's fighting to go in. So I don't want anything that's going to break off, you know, and leave that lug in my amp. So this one, same thing, it's pretty tight. Oh, and that should just line right up, you know, so there's pins that they're not concentric. That one won't even go in. So I ordered another set that actually have a high side, just like you'd see on the base of a tube. And see, I got 20 feet of this wire here, which will go in here and get captured right in that. That's nice. And so I'll open that right out and solder that into the 8 pins on the base. And then of course the other end will go into the box and connect to the socket bases going through the meter. And we should be all set. So this person said they'd send these 4 right out. Actually, they said they had shipped them already when I emailed them. They were really good about it, no argument whatsoever. I guess they probably looked at their paperwork, realized that I had ordered 2 sets and paid for 2 sets, and their invoice probably showed them only shipping 1. So I should have those in a couple of days. That's good. So now I just got to put together a box to mount all this in. I have an old shallow wooden box downstairs that has some metal chest pieces in, and it's got like just a plastic separator in it. That's all pretty junky, so I'll probably just pull all that out and cut my holes in that with a hole saw and mount all this stuff that way. But there we go. 4 600 volt DC meters and 4 200 milliamp meters, so that should be plenty fine for pretty much any tubes. I want to say that these 7027s in my amp should be pulling on the order of 35 to 38 milliamps. We'll do the math and figure it out. I also have some plate resistors. I'll show you those later on in another video. But yep, so that worked out good. I'm going to do all my unboxings on camera from now on, everything. Just as a CYA, you know. Alright, we'll catch you in the next one. So, quad bias probe coming along. See the 4 Allen Bradley sockets at the top there. Tubes will go in there. 0 to 600 volts. Mine should be running around 525, 540. And up to 200 milliamps, I'm hoping to see about 30, 36 in there. So nothing wired yet. Sockets aren't mounted, they're just placed. I just drilled all the holes and put the meters in. They're not all perfect. My hole saw wandered on a couple of them, you can see there, but they'll read the voltage and the amperage. That's what's important. And so I'll have 4 pigtails coming out of there with octal sockets at the end. And so you can use it on a double power tube or a quad power tube amp, whatever you need actually, because they're all going to be separate from one another. And I may run a extra wire for a chassis ground that'll attach either with a spade connector, or I'll just put an alligator clip or something. We'll figure it out. I can pull the ground off the negative side at the base of the tubes, but I don't know if that's going to give me a true ground reading or if that will show the voltage coming through off the tube. So we'll see how it goes. But all the meters are in there. Look pretty cool. Okay, that's it for today.